morning, everyone. Today we are really happy to invite Ms. Zheng Xingyun, the council member of Youth Committee of All China Federation of Overseas Chinese, to come here and introduce Chinese tea culture to all of us. Ms. Zheng Xingyun also have another lovely name, which is Miss Olu. Olu. Yes. She can speak Sinhala fluently, and she work and live in Sri Lanka for many years. And she's often invited to host cultural activity in China or Sri Lanka, and serve as an interpreter. And she comes from Yunnan province, her hometown, which is rich in tea, and she has a deep knowledge in tea culture. So today we're really lucky to invite Miss Olu come here and introduce Chinese tea culture to all of us. Now please welcome Miss Olu.
Ayubowan, subuh desnak. Ada borak saludui, mebagai chance gagal puna. China day sahaja China day sabtu kekena over mala over dunia na tega kata kelanoa. Bagi nama Olu, China nama nanti kat kawalu, Zheng Xingyun here lah. Ini sama kemedi me Olu benda dan kape. Right. So first of all, I like to ask a question. Who knows how to say tea in Chinese? Please? Cha. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Cha. So today my topic will be tea for harmony. Cha和天下. 天下 means the world. So the tea for the harmony to the world and Chinese tea culture. And you may heard because now the Chinese tea and the tea ceremony of China is already became listed UNESCO intangible world heritage. So today I'm very happy to be here to also introduce a little bit about tea culture with you and to share some tea with you. Abi ham tu pun ada kiwa me Singhalin kada karam nona. Abi mah kita ni bagi Singhala ecel hunda ne. Singhala kada karam tu poda hemi kada karam noa. Ini sama me sama ni Inggris beli kada karam na. Mana ada prasna dia noa na bagi ngaham na karam na karam. 谢谢. Okay. So from today's sharing, I hope you can remember the word cha, cha, cha. Right. But in singular, we call cha as day. In China, we have a very famous province, Fujian. That is, we call it the hometown of tea. And in their local dialect, the local language, they call cha as day. So from this, and in French, we also call cha as day. So from this connection, we can say China, Fujian is the hometown of day, cha. Okay, so now I'd like to share with you the history of Chinese tea. How come this special tree became so popular and become a part of our lives in China? It can be dated back to 2737 BC. It is really long ago. And at that time, we have a Chinese emperor, Shen Nong. So you may heard about Shen Nong. He's famous for a book that is Shen Nong Chang Bai Cao. Cao means herbs. So Shen Nong, he tasted more than 100 of herbs, and to write what kind of herb he's tasting and what is the usage and what is the effect of the herbs. So there's one day when he's resting under a tree and with his servant, and then some leaves from the tree just dropped into the water his servant was boiling. And then he decided, okay, I will try these tea leaves with the water. So then the magic happened. This is how we got to know these tea leaves will be a good flavored drink to us. So after that, Shen Nong introduced this tea, introduced this infusion. So we can basically separate the tea culture, tea history into 4 periods. So the first period, Chinese people were treating tea as herbs. So we have the herb tea period. So at that time, people were using the tea as a herb because they believe there must be a good effect and influence of the tea. And the second duration, that is from 206 BC to 218 AD, that is a really long period. So people are drinking tea as a soup because eventually the Chinese people realized tea actually is good for health, and they can use it as a part of the daily meals. So this is why we call it the soup tea period. And after that, people were thinking, okay, from the meals to only have the tea as soups are not enough. So we need to have more tea because people realized the good effect and the good usages of tea. So they just have tea as a pure tea. So they're taking tea without any other things. So at that time, we're calling this pure tea period. And then later on, Chinese people realized, okay, when we were traveling or we were not at home or we are not in the position to have the pure tea, then what to do? So we have the loose leaf tea period till now. So from 1368, the year of that time, to now, we're having loose leaf tea. So now, later on I will show you, you can easily to carry on with you. That is the dried loose tea leaves. I will introduce a little bit about how they make the tea from the fresh leaves into the loose leaf tea that we can carry with us when we're going out. So we have a lot of variants of Chinese tea. And I'd like to ask how many kinds of Chinese tea you've heard about. We have green tea, of course, and black tea. Yes, China we have black tea, and we also have famous green tea, jasmine tea. Okay, so I will tell you the answer. So in China, we have so many kinds of tea. We have a oolong. Oolong tea actually is something between green tea and black tea. That is a half fermentation tea. And we have green tea. That is our daily beverage for all the Chinese, no matter we're in China or we're in any corner of the world. Then we have the white tea. So white tea actually is the link between China and Sri Lanka, because we all believe the first tea tree was brought by the British people in 1824, and that tea tree actually is from the place in China, in Fujian, where it's famous for white tea. So today, do we have white tea in Sri Lanka? The answer is yes. The golden tips and the silver tips is the same as the Chinese white tea. And then of course we have black tea, and we have yellow tea, also the Longjing tea So Longjing actually is the most famous tea of green tea. Longjing is a place in Zhejiang province and in Hangzhou city. So every year, during the springtime, Longjing tea will be the most famous and the favorite beverages for Chinese people to drink the spring, we're calling it. And then we have jasmine tea, so that is jasmine flower mixed with tea. So you can have a fragrance when you're drinking tea and to make you very happy, especially for the ladies. We like jasmine tea very much. And Tie Guanyin. Tie Guanyin is also a very famous tea in China. The color is black and the leaves are very big. And this tea, because it's also the tea with fermentation, so you can feel the special fragrance and special aroma when we are putting hot water inside. And we have this Lapsang Souchong. This is very famous and it's almost the same with the Darjeeling and Assam tea in India. In China we call it Zheng Shan Xiaozhong. Zheng Shan Xiaozhong is we can use it as the highest standard to value the black tea in China. And also then we have this tea, name is Ju Hua Cha, chrysanthemum tea. So that is actually flower. And in Sri Lanka, we're having this chamomile flower tea. So it's similar, but this one in Chinese culture we treat it as so this one, even in Sri Lanka, myself, I'm bringing it from China and to drink when the weather is very hot. And we have Bai Mudan. Bai means white. Mudan, we call it as peony. So Bai Mudan actually is a kind of white tea, but because of the special aroma and flavor, it becomes like a name of that particular kind of tea. And we have Beiluchun, of course, the green tea. So now you can see when you are seeing a Chinese tea name with Chun. Chun means what? Spring. Then it means it's a kind of green tea, because we always treat green tea as fresh as spring. Okay, Huangshan Maofeng. So Huangshan is a famous mountain in China, and we call it Yellow Mountain. And that mountain with a very high altitude. So the plantation on the Huangshan is very special. And the tea has a specific name, that is Maofeng. And we have Da Hong Pao. Da Hong Pao actually, I believe you heard about Da Hong Pao before, because this is a tea with a very nice story. That is in ancient China, when our people, they need to attend to important exam. We call it as the A-level exam, just like we're having these days. And there's one person on his way to participating in this exam. He felt very sick. And the local people give him something to drink. That is tea leaves from this Da Hong Pao tree. And after drinking that, he got well very soon. And he participated in that exam and got the first place. So later on, people were calling this Da Hong Pao tea with a culture full of lucky and full of wellness. And then we have this post-fermented tray of fermented tea. That is, we have another name, Pu'er. So I can show you, actually, this is the Pu'er tea. And because we need to store it for a very long time, so we're putting it as we call it a tea cake. and it's very hard. Later on you can check. It's very tight, very hard, and this one we can keep it for many years, for decades. So, for example, this one I'm holding is from 2007. So till now, it's already 16 years, but the fragrance is getting deeper. And you know the tea, when you open it, we have a special tool to just get a little bit from this cake and to use it into the hot water, and you can drink for a very long time. So actually this tea cake in the ancient time is mainly for those traders who need to travel for a long time. So they are using it along with the Silk Road and the tea horse route in China, because this is easy to carry and this can be used for a very long time. So this is post-fermented tea. We call it pu'er tea. And just like Han Duo introduced, I'm from the hometown of pu'er tea, that is Yunnan province. And talking about Yunnan province, we're sharing the boundary with Thailand and Laos, as well as Vietnam and Cambodia. So now you can have a concept that area is famous for tea plantations. And the last one, we're having Xingyun Maojian tea. So Xingyang is in the north part of China, in Henan province. But usually tea were grown in the south part of China. But because of the special weather condition and the environment situation, in Xingyang we can grow very good green tea. So Xingyang Maojian is also very famous. So after sharing this, later on I hope when you were talking about tea with your friends, you can explain the teas of Chinese, different kinds of teas, and also with your Chinese friends, they will think, wow, you know Chinese tea better than us. Right? So just like I mentioned, tea actually is grown throughout China's southern provinces. So there are 17 main tea growing regions in China, but from the map you can see it's almost in the south part of China, including Anhui, Fujian, and Gansu, Guangdong, Guangxi, Guizhou, Hainan, all these provinces. And of course, Sichuan, Yunnan, my hometown, and Zhejiang, that is for Longjing tea. So you can see these are the tea plantations. So in China, we're having the villagers among the tea plantations. And this is why these years, tea tourism is becoming more and more popular. That is just like in Sri Lanka, you like to travel to Nuwara to stay inside among the tea plantations. It's the same in China. And in China, we can even have tea plucking, tea making experience, as well as to have tea cushions, tea food. So we are eating tea leaves with soya sauce, spice sauce, and also to fry, and with the tea with some other things. So we're having a full tea cushion in China. Hopefully someday when you're visiting China, you can try that. Okay, so I just introduced about tea for you to get a brief understanding about tea, but I believe you all are already familiar about Chinese tea. Then I'd like to share with you the tea culture. So the tea culture of China is to take a tea as a carrier, and through this carrier to spread various arts. So it is an integral part of the excellent traditional Chinese culture, and its content is very rich. It includes all facets of tea, both physical and spiritual. And in China, you may heard we have a very old book of poems that is 1,000 years back. That is called Xingyun, and that is the first book of poem in the Chinese history. Even from that book, we have many poems about tea, and there's a very famous sentence: "Tea, the finest tree in the south. 茶者，南方之佳木也." So at that time, which means 1,000 years ago, people are combining tea with culture, with poems. And till now, till today, we're using this tradition. So I'm showing you, this is a very nice tea pack in China. And from the front side, you can see a very nice traditional Chinese painting. And then the back side of this, you can see a poem. So whoever receives this tea, you may feel like, okay, this gift is full of Chinese tradition and the Chinese culture. And when you open it, see what we can feel. So you have a book. This side also the nice traditional Chinese painting with a poem and with a ancient stamp. And here you have something the old tea tray and the dragon pearl, something like that. And then you open the book. Okay, you have another poem. So here you can read the poem and to feel the rich culture of this gift. And then you will have this slice as a leaflet. And okay, you open it, and here this introduction. So it is nowadays, of course, Chinese we're reading from left to right and like in the row. But this one is we need to read it from right to left, just like what we were doing in the ancient China. And here it mentioned, okay, we need to drink this tea, and this tea contains different features and how to drink this tea. And this tea was introduced by the Asian people of China, and you can follow the Asian way and the traditional way of enjoying this tea. And then you take one small box of this tea, okay, and share with your friend. And here you open it. And again, you will find a very cute tea circle. And we call it as a pearl, tea pearl. So this is a dragon pearl. Then you just open it and put the tea into the water and to boil it. Then you can enjoy this tea with your friend. So later on we will just have a taste of this tea. So I believe when you are receiving such a gift, you will feel happy and you will feel like, okay, my friend, they must think I'm elegant and I'm full of culture and tradition. So this is why they're giving me this tea. So this is how Chinese people like to give tea as a gift when we are socializing. So this is just something I want to introduce to you. So later on, of course, with Ceylon tea, you can also put some tradition and culture to make Ceylon tea more popular. Okay. So now, let's say what is tea for harmony. Do you feel happy when I'm introducing the tea? Or do you feel peaceful when I'm talking about tea? I think yes. The answer is yes. Hopefully the answer is yes. Okay, so tea for harmony. We have a little friend. We will give you some tea, Ryan. They're my friend. Thank you for coming. Right. So the spirit of the tea ceremony is the core of the tea culture. So we are not just drinking tea as a beverage, but we are drinking tea as something to fill our spirit. So the connotation of the spirit of tea ceremony is harmony, peace, happiness, and truthfulness. Why the truthfulness? Because when we were having tea, usually we're sharing with friends, and we were talking while drinking tea. So that is to show the sincerity of friendship and the sharing of each other. So of which the four elements of which harmony is the most important point. Because when we were drinking tea, we need the harmony. Otherwise, how can we drink tea to sit together? So tea has a health effect, and regular tea drinking can strengthen the body. When the physical is enjoying the wellness, then we get the pleasure of the spirit, and then the whole body will feel the peace and the harmony, and then we can share the harmony with others. So that is the belief of Chinese tea culture. And only by enjoying oneself can one get the sublimation of the realm of life and improve the quality of life. So nowadays we are drinking tea as a daily compulsory habit. So in general, after familiarization ourselves with the spirit of the tea ceremony, we can better inherit and promote the tea culture. So the small pictures here, this one was taken by me when I was having tea with friends. So usually we don't put milk or sugar when we were drinking Chinese tea. That is the main difference between Ceylon tea and the Chinese tea. But we are having some the desserts or something to eat. Otherwise, keeping drinking tea only will support the digesting too much. So you will feel hungry when you are drinking tea only. And this is also the picture took by me that is at our home. So this is the place we're reading, but we also have tea. So when we were drinking tea, when we were reading, we feel we can, we can learn more efficiently. So that is the way tea is in our life in China. And just like today, when I got to know, I received this opportunity to share with you about tea and coming to this place for the first time. The first thing came into my mind is, I need to bring some tea to come. And I'd like to show my respect to all of you. So I need to prepare some tea, and that is for friendship. And also, like our Hangduo, when I came inside this place, the first thing he gave me is a cup of tea. That is to show his hospitality. So I believe you've been experiencing a lot of tea drinkings in this place, but today we can just recall our memories again, the experience of drinking tea each time from Chinese friends or from a local friend. I think that is content hospitality. So according to the Chinese tradition, hosts should show their hospitality and respect to the guests and visitors by offering a cup of tea at home, and even to visit a person in the office, they like to offer a cup of tea. And the members of the younger generation should show their respect to members of the elder generation by offering a cup of tea. So in China, when we were young, whoever comes to our place or if we are having meals outside, the younger generation, like we need to serve tea to all the elder generations. So that is a tradition. And to invite elders to a restaurant for tea is a traditional holiday activity. So during the weekends or during the holidays, we like to call our elder generations and to invite them to have tea with us. So that is not only for tea, but a great opportunity and a time for us to communicate and interact. And in China, another important thing, the newly married couples serve tea to their elder family members. And that is not only by serving, but they need to put their knees down and to give the tea to the elder members to show the respect as a new member of the family. So the tea serving etiquette is one of the traditional Chinese etiquette which has a history of more than 3,000 years. So since Zhou dynasty in the ancient time, tea had already been a kind of present between friends and relatives and a tribute for royalty. So of course tea was very valuable at that time. And no matter wherever we're going, if we don't know what to give, then tea will be the best option. And serving tea is a custom in China and has a long history. Chinese people like to serve tea to guests. Gradually, it becomes etiquette. According to Chinese traditional culture, no matter where it is, serving tea must relate to tea etiquette. So now I'd like to introduce a little bit what is our tea etiquette by serving a tea. Okay. So this is actually a part of our social life and our family life in ancient China until today. So as the saying goes, full cup of wine, but half cup of tea. That is there. I don't know how many of you can speak Chinese, but we have a saying in China, 酒满敬人, 茶满欺人. So this is something we learned when we were young. That is, when you are serving a wine to your guest, the cup must be full. That's to show your respect. But when you are serving a tea to your guests, the cup must be half, not full. Otherwise, that is to remind your guest, okay, we're in a rush, so after drinking this, you can go. So something like that. So this is why, if later on you can experience when we were serving you tea, we just put half of the cup. And that means, okay, I'd like to stay longer with you, to spend more time with you. So after drinking this half, you will get another half. And continuously, we're serving you. So maybe this is something new to you. So please don't get misunderstand next time when your Chinese friends are giving you half cup of tea. You may think, okay, he doesn't like me, and he's so mean. He's just giving me this little. He's not he's not happy to have me with him. That is totally opposite. So the tea should not be serving too full on the cup. At most 80% of the teacup. So that is the most important thing. If someday you're visiting China, if they are giving you a little bit of tea, please don't be angry. And the water should not be too hot. So this is why before you all come and before we started this sharing, come the rule prepare the tea. So I believe that the tea water will not that too hot. Yes, later on you can feel it. So this is why we need to prepare it earlier to make our guest to feel, okay, this is the tea I can drink directly and not too hot to feel like, if they're accidentally drinking, it will harm the tongue. Okay, so if there are more than 2 guests, the color of tea should be almost the same. Okay, so this goes as when we were putting some tea, for example, we're using this small purple clay cup. So we're putting tea inside, and you all know when the tea leaves are taking longer time, the color will be more deeper. So this means if there are more than 2 friends, we need to serve tea at the same time. So 1 cup, another cup, and if the color is getting deeper, and if our guests can say, okay, my color is light, his color is dark, then this is also something not good in our tradition. So we will just serve the tea in a big one. If we have more than 3 guests, okay, then which means we can share more. So this is why today we're having this big one to make the color and everything in the equal way. So we thank our Hamduro very much, because these are the teapots I brought, and Hamduro was saying, okay, we have a lot of friends, so we need to use this one. Right. So usually in China, the tea we're serving is we put the leaves into the pot, and then use this one this is the sharing cup. So we just put here, and to pull the tea water from here, and the tea leaves and whatever the tea small leaves and those things can be stopped from this net, and from this one we're serving tea. So usually we're not serving tea like using the big one to serve the small cups, because this is not matching. So we're just pull the tea into the sharing cup, and then to using the small sharing cup, and to pull into the small cups to make it more matching. So this is our traditional way, right? And then we have when serving the refreshments, put them right in front of the guest, and the teacup should be placed at the right side of the refreshments. Okay, so we were having this culture in Chinese. We always like the right side, because you may realize Chinese people, we are eating and we're drinking, most of the time we're using our right side. So this is also something we need to concern. The reason why I'm not serving you tea now, because later on I want you to try. Yeah, according to this tea serving etiquette, you can try to serve tea to each other. And we don't have that much refreshment, but I'm having some egg rolls for you to make you not. So in drinking wine, we're saying someone's drunk. In drinking tea, in China, we also have the same. Someone will get drunk by drinking tea only. So if the tea is too, how to say, too much, or drinking tea for a long time, you may feel hungry. So this is why we're calling it get drunk. So when serving tea, hold the cup on your right hand and offer from the right side of the guest with smile. Okay, so this is something we need to remember. But in Sri Lanka, because we call Sri Lanka as a country of smiles, so we don't have a problem. Right. Then the same tea leaf should serve for 3 or 4 cups. When guest cup is empty, the master could refill the tea. Until guest leave, the master could clean away the tea things. So in front of the guest, no matter the table is full of whatever is there, we will not not clean the table. So we just accompany our guests and by refilling the tea, then they will feel okay. We will welcome. But for Sri Lankan friends, okay, I will share. My good friend, Mr. Dimisha, the first time he came to our place, and we keep serving tea, and he thinks, okay, I need to drink all the cups they're giving. So every time we're serving, he's drinking, and we think, okay, he likes the tea, so we're keeping pouring, and he's keeping drinking. And then he's thinking, okay, I'm drinking too much. I need to use the bathroom, but I don't know if this is polite, because any other Chinese are not using the washroom. Then I feel very bad. So I explained, okay, later when we're serving tea, you can drink it slowly. Not like we're pouring, you're drinking, you're drinking, we're pouring. Then this is like, a guest and a master, we are having a lot of interaction. So later on when you are visiting a Chinese friend, they are serving you tea, you can drink slowly. And if they are keeping pouring the tea for you, you can say, okay, I got enough. And please tell us if you want to use the washroom. Right. Okay, so as we say, tea contains respect and hospitality in Chinese culture. And not only that, but also tea is a symbolic of respect, apology, and gratitude. So say if I need to express make apology to my friend or whatever, I will just invite him a tea and to give tea by 2 hands. That is to show, okay, I'm sorry. So here you can see this is a little pupil. It's serving tea to his master, his teacher. So that is also a tradition in China. If you want to become a student of a teacher, there's a ceremony. So that is to serving tea to the teacher. And this is the purple clay pot that very popular in China, because we believe that the purple clay matches very well with the tea leaves. So I have a special aroma. And here is also the professional tea makers. They're preparing tea. And in China, we have a lot of this kind of tea house. In Sri Lanka and Western countries, we have a lot of coffee shops. But in China, we have a lot of tea shops, so where people can drinking tea, and just like people are drinking coffee at coffee shops. But the places of the tea shops contains more tradition in China. So usually we're inviting our elder generation or important guests to a tea shop instead of a coffee shop. Okay, and talking about tea, after saying so much, I like to tell you another thing that is personally I really like. That is tea with ya. What is ya in Chinese? Ya means elegance. So from the ancient time, we're calling this yaji. Yaji, in English, the meaning is a gathering of elegance. So just like today, we're gathering here, we're enjoying tea with culture, and to feel the elegance and to show our own elegance. So that is something really popular in Asian China. So you can see those photos. That's like 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago. So we have music with tea. So during the weekend, the old Chinese Asian people, they were inviting friends and to play some strings or music outside and with some tea. So that is music with tea and gathering with tea. So the ladies, just like these days, ladies like to have the afternoon tea. So in China, in ancient time, ladies are also enjoying tea very well. And then scenery with tea, like that is something like to have picnic. And with a picnic, these days we're bringing a lot of food to have a picnic, but at that time, Asian Chinese, they prefer to prepare teas for the gatherings and to enjoy the scenery outside. And by drinking a tea, to see now this coconut tree or the blue sky, they like to make a poem. So this was the life at that time, and we call it elegance. And here we have this be alone with tea. And you can see this is must be the master or official by this the costume in ancient China, and this is his servant. So servant is actually boiling to boil water and to make tea for him. So he's drinking the tea and enjoying being alone. So this is also something we call elegance. You need to enjoy yourself when you're being alone. So you can write articles after drinking tea, or to thinking something by drinking tea. Okay, so Yaji, just like what I mentioned, is a gathering of elegance. Was a common way for Asian Chinese literati to enjoy their culture life collectively. So just like today, if someone can sing, if someone can play the strings, someone can read a poem, and we're gathering here, this is what we call it Yaji, gathering of elegance. So we can enjoy each other very well. And during this kind of elegant gathering, the participants would recite poetry and appreciate tea, paintings, flowers, incense, and puqing. Puqing is we're calling the Chinese musical instrument. Our Hangul can play that very well. That is something very traditional and very difficult to learn. And in pursuit of elegance, artists' sensibility and moral nobility, the practice is reflective of the Chinese culture that highly values harmony, be it about aesthetic refinement, friendships based on affinity of souls or unity between human and nature. It holds a good clue to the relation between tea and harmony. So by now, I hope you can have a brief understanding about what is harmony of tea. That is something we can find between tea and harmony. There are actually a lot of things. So okay, so this is just meeting friends with tea. In Chinese, we're calling 以茶会友. 以茶会友 is meeting friends with tea. So actually, the picture in the left side is a very famous picture in China in Song Dynasty, which is very long time ago. And the right side, this picture we took like 1 year ago in China at our place. And we have a Sri Lankan friend, we have Chinese friend, we have Muslim friend. So just like a master the host is sitting here, just like this man sitting here, and to serve tea. And we can say, okay, well, in the ancient time, actually they were enjoying more things than we're enjoying these days. So this is the tradition. The reason why I'm putting these pictures together is just to tell you the tradition in China for this tea, to make meeting friends with tea never changed. So we have 1,000 years of history in that. Okay, so now I'd like to just mention a little bit about tea relationship between China and Sri Lanka. So just like what I mentioned, in 1824, a tea plant was brought to Ceylon by the British from China and was planted in the Royal Botanical Garden in Kandy, Philadelphia, for its experimental purposes. And according to the history I read at that time, actually a lot of people, they were in the queue to see this tea tree from China. So that is something that's really popular at that time. And then, of course, we all know Lechong, the tea plantations in Assam and Kolkata in India were very famous. And we have this very important man to Ceylon tea history, James Taylor. He brought the tea plantations and tea industry to Sri Lanka. And getting all these tea plantations started in Lunakantala estate in Kandy. So actually, personally, I respect James Taylor a lot. And personally, I have written a lot of articles about him. So Li Zhang, I hope you can also find more stories about him. And now we're saying tea is a social custom and is a part of many celebrations in both Chinese and Sri Lankan culture. So that is our connection. Chinese tea is connected closely with Chinese Taoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. Traditionally, drinking tea was the best way for learners to inspire themselves. And Taoists used to drink tea for self-cultivation and keeping the oneness of soul and body. Buddhists used to drink tea for deeper understanding of Zheng. Sorry, 师傅，我超时了吗？
没有，你尽管讲。
我还有2页，我尽量还有，不好意思。And from the ideology of Confucius, drinking tea could judge a person's character and level of morality and emphasize the feeling of objective environment and inner heart. And today, tea for Sri Lanka, we realized is literally second to water. So every single person enjoys at least 3 cups of tea. 3 cups of tea per day, and that is just minimally. So every occasion is celebrated with a cup of tea in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lankans would not substitute it for anything else. So am I right? It's the poor man's drink of choice and the rich man's as well. So tea, by drinking tea, we don't have a difference between different people. And so tea has become an integral part of the Sri Lankan culture since it goes hand in hand with hospitality. Every household offers tea to guests every time. That is really true. So I feel like this is the common culture between China and Sri Lanka. Because in Sri Lanka, wherever I'm going to visit a friend, they're offering me a tea, and with a lot of choices, like black tea, plain tea, milk tea, and ginger tea, a lot of choices. So we enjoy it very much. And no expectations. So it is served as a festival and gatherings almost everywhere in Sri Lanka. And the difference is Sri Lankans prefer black tea powder, while Chinese prefer green tea or leaf tea. So we like to drink tea leaves. When compared to China, Sri Lanka doesn't have a specific tea house to have tea. No, but it changed. We can see the Diama Tea Lounge and also other tea avenue tea shops these days in Sri Lanka. But every Sri Lankan restaurant serves a warm cup of tea, while in rural areas, in this Kangalandia. So we still can observe a unique Sri Lankan style of villagers gathering to sip tea in the evenings. The Sri Lankan tea culture is this local bazaars, includes playing jokes, cards, and narrating stories, reading newspapers, and of course gossips. That is my favorite. Okay, so I just by concluding my sharing, there's something I need to share with you again. That is the common tea culture in China and Sri Lanka. So of course, in both countries, tea is still considered medicine. So long before tea became a part of people's daily lives, which is during the lifetime of Shen Nong, tea was only considered to be a medical treatment for illness used by doctors of traditional Chinese medicine. So the first record of tea appeared in Shenhong Changbai Cao, the book I just introduced in the beginning, which is the first Chinese medicine book in the history. And in Sri Lanka, herbal tea is also very popular, as it is believed that the extract of tea leaves can reduce the cholesterol levels and the high blood pressure. So they are also helpful with anti-aging, cancer, colds and infections and heart diseases. So this is why we're having the common thinking and considerations of tea. That is, of course, good for our health. So I talked a lot and didn't ask any questions. So I hope you got understanding. And what I want to emphasize is because we have this natural link between China and Sri Lanka. So with the deep and fragrant connection of tea, let's join hands together and to enjoy the friendship between China and Sri Lanka with tea. And we can wish the friendship between our two countries just as green as the fresh green tea forever. So thank you very much. Always good tea. And long weekend serve tea.
He likes straight tea.
Last a cup of tea.
what about say what again? 不客气哇，你们都会说中文。You can try to serve tea if you like. Sorry.
You have some more? You like some more?
So this is
Do you like
something
some more?
we call it 肉桂. The name is just like cinnamon. I don't know if you can taste a little bit similar aroma of cinnamon from this. So regularly in the beginning, we like green tea without any fermentation. Yeah, so green tea directly with drinking. And later on, tea flowers. And then we realize, and then realize so that is oolong tea. And after that, fermentation was there, that is black tea. Yes, green tea. Oh, okay. So flower first. Yes. We treat tea as a herb directly. That is green tea. The green tea leaves, we think that is the herb. Yes.
Do you have any question? You can ask Miss Olu. If you have any question, you can ask Miss Olu about the tea culture.
Yeah, we can discuss. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
如果他们没有什么问题，我们就差不多。
this opportunity. So this tea matches you very well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today we are really happy to have Miss Olu here to serve the tea knowledge, tea culture knowledge to all of you. And I would like to serve this gift to all of you because I know there are so many tea circles here, right? There are 8. So who want to have it? I can serve it. You want one? Okay. Oh, I must mention, lady first. Lady first. Oh, Hangul first. Yes, that's 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Water, yes. But if you like it more heavy, at least a half. At least a half, yeah, per time. So you can drink this twice. And sometimes if we're having a lot of people, we can drink the whole thing. Yes. 好的好的。
那马太极。
谢谢马太极那个法师。So also another small gift for you. Yes. Thank you very much. This is the Tea for Harmony, 茶和天下。谢谢。
Di apa satu tahun tu apa yang ada mungkin masa lain sama apa yang ada mesti apa China di sanskrit kan apa yang di mana apa di mana dan apa yang agak apa di sama